Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be recapping Day 5 of Vikings training camp. The pads came on today, so we're just inching closer and closer to real football being back. But the headline of the practice was a defense. They absolutely dominated, so we'll dive into all that here in a second. But first, some news from Green Bay. It's coming in from Mike Spoford, the first padded practice for the Packers, and the first Packers DB rotation sends in Carrington Valentine at outside corner. And then on the other side was wide receiver, now cornerback, Bo Melton. This is a tough division for the Packers to play in when they're rolling out a former wide receiver at the cornerback spot. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what their plan is. Obviously Nate Hobbs will get in that rotation, but look at the receivers around the NFC North. Good luck to Green Bay for trotting out a guy like Bo Melton in the secondary. But some great news here. Will Fries is coming in from Will Regetz, who is at training camp. Give him a follow on Twitter if you haven't already. But him tweeting out, Will Fries is out there at right guard on the first-team offensive line as 11-on-11s begin. Donovan Jackson still at left guard. So we were talking about this last week. We knew Will Fries was days, not weeks, in terms of how close he was to returning to the lineup. So he was out there. I'm sure he'll eventually be a complete, full participant, probably within the next couple of days. So that's good news there on our guy, Willie Fries. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button before we dive into the 5 biggest takeaways. We actually were starting a race to 100 subscribers battle with our Bears Now channel, and they are only 9 subs away from getting there. We got a chance, but if you guys could help me out, hit that subscribe button on today's show. We'll keep you guys posted with everything you need to know from training camp, from the preseason, and to the regular season, and hopefully the postseason for our Minnesota Vikings. So hit that subscribe button today, and if you are subscribed, just give me a SKOL down below in the comments section. All right, so Day 5 takeaways. A lot of this will be about the defense because they were dominating, and more specifically, Dallas Turner, second-year edge rusher from Alabama. He looked unreal. Every beat reporter is raving about this guy's performance, and Roy gets tweeting this out saying, great all-around training camp rep just now. Dallas Turner burst around the edge for a would-be sack on the before Sam Howell ripped a deep dime to undrafted rookie Dante Fleming. I saw the clip of this. His closing speed is absolutely ridiculous. He just bent the corner, got around the right tackle, and then he closed that gap to him and Sam Howell like that. He actually ended up bumping into Sam a little bit, so would have been a for sure sack. And then our friend Alec Lewis tweeting this out saying Dallas Turner was on one today too. Looked very good. So this is obviously a very promising sign for us Vikings fans because, even though he played in limited action this past season, he didn't really have the chance to produce like the 17th overall pick should. We still had some concerns heading in this year. Like, will we be able to take that monster step? But I think it's a very positive sign that the pads come on and Turner starts dominating. I absolutely love that. This is a physical football player. He plays with that insanely high motor. And, obviously we know how special he is at getting to the quarterback. He's got a crazy arsenal of moves, just a freak athlete. But why I was so high on specifically the Vikings drafting him was because of his versatility. He can drop back into coverage. And earlier today, Dallas Turner almost had himself a gink 6 where the edge rusher is lined up on the line of scrimmage. He drops back. Vikes were trying to set up a screenplay, and he got his hands on the football. So I'm sure him just learning from Gernard, learning from Andrew Van Ginkel, and then on top of that, just his natural athletic ability, I think all signs are pointing to this guy. I don't know what type of year he could have. If he's playing majority of the reps on defense, I could see this guy having a 12-sack season and is truly, first year playing this upcoming season in the National Football League. So all types of love heading towards Dallas Turner's way. Shout out to him, man, balling out today at Vikings training camp. And then number 2 here, the quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. He continues to impress, continues to pass the eye test here at training camp. He had this nasty cover 2 hole shot. This was what Will Getz was tweeting out, saying J.J. McCarthy just rifled a deep ball into a tight window to Lucky Jackson. And actually, Theo Jackson was inches away from a pick. But also more good news here on the defensive line. Jalen Redmond had a pressure on that play. And, it was just a typical cover 2 from the Vikings. He just rifled one in there. It kind of almost reminded me of the Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson game-winning touchdown in Seattle last year where the receiver was spinning around. But it was a perfect ball by J.J., and I am drunk off the purple Kool-Aid. I'm going to contain myself from saying the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. I will be incredibly biased this year. It is already setting in. I'm already watching too much training camp clips. I just can't get enough of this football team. And the more I just dive into it, it's almost like, and I knew this was going to be the case. Heading into the summer, I was trying to tell myself, hey, Patrick, you cannot say this team's going to win the Super Bowl. Try to be critical of this football team. I can't find anything to be critical of. They are looking amazing. They're passing the eye test, and it all comes down to the right arm of J.J. McCarthy. And if he's looking good, this team has a chance to do something very, very special this upcoming year. But the main takeaway from practice was the pass rush was causing issues. The Vikings were diving in to this 2-minute drill scenario, and apparently they could barely get a playoff. This was, again, Wilbur Getz coming in saying the Vikings just set up a situational drill with the starters. Down 3, 1:15 left, 1 timeout. Offense went nowhere. 2 sacks. Allen, Hargrave, Gennard in the backfield, among others. Also, Dallas Turner was making plays here. They also added in McCarthy, had no time to breathe. Now, also in the situation, obviously there was no Christian Darrisaw, and there was obviously no Will Fries in this. But, man, I'll tell you what. The Vikings, just this third down package they're going to be able to throw at people is going to be disgusting because they're going to line up Jonathan Gennard, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Andrew Van Ginkel, and then they're going to have Dallas Turner on top of that. Like, good luck to opposing offensive lines. Just one trying to pick up who's coming, who's not, and then you just got to block these guys one-on-one. Now, I will say this situation does favor the strengths of the Vikings defensive line because Hargrave and Allen, they're more pass rush specialists. If the Vikings can set up a run, I think that would be the way to beat this Vikings defense is just continually, running the football. I mean, that's why Ben Johnson and the Lions have been so successful. It's just because their offensive line with Gibbs and Montgomery have been able to produce at a high level against the Vikings. But this is just a typical iron sharpens iron situation. I can see people freaking out like, oh, my goodness, is it J.J. McCarthy's fault? They couldn't get anything going. I just think this is the Vikings having one of the best defensive lines in the league. And they have the chance to be. Warren Sapp was talking about it, saying, I think this will be the best front seven in the whole NFL this next season. The talent is there. The depth is there. Because we always forget about a guy like Redmond, even Harrison Phillips rotating in. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, 5th-round pick from this past draft. He had an unreal play against Blake Brandel. Literally just put him on his behind, and he completely bull rushed him. There is so much talent on this unit. And I think by far, maybe not by far, but I think this is the best position group on the Minnesota Vikings, just that defensive line. They got a chance to do something special, and, they're just going to build off what they did last year, where they already were a dominant unit, but you're hoping Dallas Turner breaks out in year 2. You add in Hargrave, you add in Allen. Could be a special group for us Minnesota Vikings fans, but I'll let you guys decide. Which position group is the best for the Vikings? I'm going defensive line here. Maybe you can make an argument for the wide receivers, no doubt, but I think that D-line is going to be the best in the league when it's all said and done after this season. So you guys let me know which position group is the best for the Vikings. Now we'll get to more takeaways here from day 5 of Vikings training camp with the pads on. But before we do so, I got to tell you guys about today's sponsor and a new product here at Vikings now. That is Daily Greens by Factor Form. And start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/Vikings chat. And we'll hook you guys up with 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have tried greens in the past, and I wasn't the biggest fan, and I swore I was never going to try them again until I pivoted to Factor Form's Daily Greens. It completely changed how I viewed drinking greens. And Factor Form changed the game, where you'll actually crave your greens. As the sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand-in-hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens is a greens powder by Factor Form you look forward to drinking. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. With a refreshing, citrusy, clean, and smooth taste that's actually enjoyable to drink. Mix a single-serve pack in water, and you're good to go. Now, Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables, packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it, and in a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked #1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out the biggest names in the industry. So start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/Vikings chat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/VikingsChat for 40% off plus free shipping. Hit that link in the comment section and description of today's show, factor75.com/VikingsChat. Fantastic news here. This one got me going. This one really had me drinking the purple Kool-Aid. Jeff Okudah, the dude's making plays. Every clip I saw from training camp from this guy on Twitter, he was looking the part. A big, physical, press man corner. Could he have a breakout season? Could he live up to that draft pedigree he had coming out of Ohio State? Well, Brian Flores thinks so. This is what Flo had to say before practice today, saying in his time here, he's been as diligent from on the field, off the field, training room, weight room. He's always looking to do extra film work. I don't know what's happened in other buildings. I know that since he's been here, it's been great to coach him. I think he's getting better. I think he's getting more comfortable within the defense, and we're asking him and what we're asking him to do. And he's showing up positively, really in every way. I'm excited to watch him continue to improve. I think he's got a lot of skill. And, from Jeff Okudah's side of things, I bet you he is locked in. I bet you he views this as his last chance in the National Football League to make a name for himself, because he has bounced around. I think he's been on 4 teams over the last 3 seasons, and I'm sure if people look at him on this Vikings team with Brian Flores and all the talent they have, and if he doesn't work out here, I'm sure other teams are going to be like, well, you didn't work out in Minnesota. How are you going to work out for us? So this is his last chance, and I think that could get the best out of him. Like, we could see the best version that we have ever seen of Jeff Okudah in the National Football League. Again, the bar is not that high, but if he could somehow end up being, that third cornerback, maybe you just adjust, put like Byron Murphy in the slot, Isaiah Rodgers in the slot, and then Mekhi Blackman working in. But, it's funny. We were all questioning, why didn't the Vikings draft a corner? Why didn't the Vikings, even after the draft, sign a guy like Asante Samuel? Sign a guy like Rasul Douglas? I think we all have the answer to that. Clearly, they're high on the guys they have after Byron Murphy. And that's not just Jeff Okudah. That's Isaiah Rodgers, Mekhi Blackman, and actually the last guy right here, Zami Vaughn, UDFA corner out of Utah. 6'3", big body. I am still stunned this guy went undrafted. And when you think about the Vikings, just their success they have had at the UDFA spot, because, Kwesi over the last 2 years, you got Gabe Murphy last year. You got Ivan Pace Jr. the year before in the UDFA class. What if Zami Vaughn is just another Kwesi UDFA gem? He ends up making the team. He ends up playing solid, reps for this group. I could see that being the case. But, again, this cornerback group, you're going to need somebody to step up, and it is such a positive sign that Zami Vaughn is kind of taking the reins. Hopefully he ends up making the team. I think he will. I think if the Vikings will probably keep 5 corners, and I think it's just going to be the UDFAs battling it out. It'll be Zami Vaughn. It'll be Dwight McLeodern joining the other 4 of Okudah, Blackman, Rodgers, and Byron Murphy. But I'll tell you what, great day for the defense. Hopefully the offense can bounce back in their next padded practice. But I'll ask you guys this. Will Zami Vaughn make the 53-man roster? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Now, I'm tweeting about the Vikings training camp all offseason. I'll be tweeting about them throughout the entire regular season. So if you guys want to hit me up on Twitter, please do so. @PatSeeps is the Twitter handle. If you guys give me a follow over there, I'll give you a follow right on back. But appreciate all of you guys watching today's show. As always, SKOL Vikes.